Okay, so this is an attempt to kind of have a guided instruction for freewebsitesite.com. So what we have already in place is we have a lot of segments of small things, right? So we want to make this kind of on-demand tutorial where we actually we'll slow it down everything so you can follow it step by step till you can literally, uh, publish your website and you get totally acquainted with the system. Okay. So go to freewebsitesite.com. Okay. You'll end up at the home page. All right. So just so that you know, if you already do not know that this is a platform which is where you can buy domains, you can use some really amazing templates and get that to work for you by using the FWS editor, which loads the templates into the editor and it allows you to customize it 100% everything. And today we are going to cover uh, this particular process of choosing a template and then customizing it. The detail is in the customization part. So for you to really get acquainted with it and feel comfortable with it, that is the objective of this video. And it is not going to be a video that you can run, it's like just kind of running by itself. I'll do some things and then I'll kind of give a pause so you can do it, and then so you can catch up and so on and so forth, or you can pause the video actually and you can follow it through, right? So anyways, let's start. So you got to freewebsitesite.com. Next you go and there's a lot of stuff here that's written, right? And of course you can read it if you like, but I think the key is to get started, right? So if you want to buy a domain right off the bat, right? So you can go ahead and do that, right? But most likely, if you're using it for the first time, you're not just going to go ahead and buy the domain. You want to know first what does it really offer. So you go to try it now, okay, in the top menu. It will bring you to a list of templates that are already there, okay? Now, a template is basically, so this is just to cover like anybody who's watching this video. So you might be a web designer who already knows most of the jargon, but there might be some people who don't know. So I'll just kind of articulate and define everything just step by step, just so that we can cover pretty much everybody, right? So a template is basically a pre-existing design, such as I will preview a few of these. Um, and I'll open a couple of them. So, such as this, right? So, this one over here is a restaurant, template where there are a lot of pre-designed features that are in it. Okay, that are very specific to a restaurant. Now, not to say that if this is a restaurant template, you could pretty much use this template. Okay, you can change the images, pictures, the menu. You can change it instead of French fries. It could be a T-shirt or a shoe or a product that you're 3D printing, or whatever it is, right? Or your paintings or your photographs, so on and so forth. And you can basically replace that, and if you're selling a product, so this will allow you to sell a product. So here, I mean, instead of a pizza with a lot of options, you could have maybe, for example, a T-shirt, and then you could say add, customized silk screen, like some kind of message on it, and you could make it another $10, $20. This is all editable. You can change the prices. You can change these things, and what will happen is, so if the T-shirt is selling for let's say $29.99, then you got $10 more for, so that's a blank white T-shirt or blank color T-shirt, and you could add like a couple of other things, right? Like embroidery, another $10, uh, front $5, back $5, and you kind of can add on some things. So not just like a single price, but a customization. All that is already working. Okay. So this is not something that is just for design's sake. This actually already all works. So as you can see, like here it's adding the egg rolls, and you can see it's already populated here right on the cart, right? And they can just for uh, okay, so just so that you can see the numbers changing, you can see that you have, it's a working card. Somebody can place an order, they can do a pickup or a delivery, and there's a whole process all the way to the payment. Okay, so this is not like a dummy template, okay, just for design sake. This is actually a fully operating e-commerce site, okay, which is presented to you in a form of a template, and you can customize it. You can, if you don't need something, you can remove that thing, or you can maybe pick a better template because there are several to choose from that is more appropriate for you. But essentially, if you're selling something, a layout like this could work. Or if you're not selling something, then a layout like this could work, where it's just mostly the content, right? The content and about you, some contact forms, Google Maps, so on and so forth, subscribe button, and a contact form. And the good thing about this contact form is, again, this is also working. So there is something called the communication hub that is on the back end. Like once you sign in, you will have access to that. Now, if a customer comes in, kind of, submits a form, you will get that notification. Okay. Now, one more thing is, all sites come with an option of having a live chat. Okay, which you can customize. Like you can put your logo on it, you can put your, and it'll basically, you will have access to the chats. It's like instant messenger. So if you're, as long as you're logged into that, communication hub, in your dashboard, you will get these ping sounds, and you can customize those ringtones too. Like there are multiple ringtones, just so that you don't mix it up with a Facebook ping or some other ping. So you can set up a unique tone that you don't use for anything else, and log into the communication hub from your mobile phone. So even if you're not on your computer, you'll hear these pings. Even if the screen is locked, as long as you're logged in into that communication hub chat dashboard, you'll keep getting these ping sounds, and then you can open and you can start interacting, right? Now, there may be cases, in some cases, where it's not happening that way. Now, that you'll have to check out what your phone settings are, and we'll have to figure that out. But as long as, like in most cases, it seems to be working just as it should. If you've muted some notifications from your browser or something else, you may face issues, and then you have to resolve it. Okay, but that utility is there. What does that mean? That means you don't have to rely on somebody calling you, emailing you, or even sending you a contact form request that you have to go and check in an email. Okay, and let's say you've got one email registered for this thing, and you got another email registered for something else. That would be an issue. So let's say you have multiple forms here, right? You can have them all coming into your contact, even your orders, right? So not in this one, but in this one, any of the orders that are placed here, right, and submitted, or somebody does a book, books a what do you call, a table reservation is done, that will, all the details will come into, including the customer details, their phone number, their name, their email, will come into the communication hub. So you'll have like an order, right? So if somebody buys something, a pizza or a t-shirt or whatever, that will show up in your, with a ping. Okay, and then you can call the customer and say, hey, we got your order. I mean, if you have enabled payment, then you would also get the payment. If they say just like pay cash on delivery or cash on pickup, then you can call and confirm the order that's legit, and then you can basically process it, right? Or you can, however you like it, but the connection has been made. So that's the objective of the communication hub that you have access to on the backside of this. Okay, now similarly, like, so like I said, everything is templated. So I hope you get a good idea about, okay, what are the value, what is the value that, this platform gives you, right? So like I said, like, this is another design. This is a very specific automotive related design, right? And there are, so if you're a web designer, right, or a digital marketing company, and you're wondering like, okay, I mean, what if I've, why should I use this? I could use some other site, right? You got Wix, you got other sites that you could use, and why not use them? We have, on this platform, designed something very specific, like you've seen for the restaurant, right? So going into the detail where you can customize a particular plate or a particular product, and the ability to bill separately for it, um, is unique, and it's specially designed. It's like a more detailed feature. So, and it's a more realistic feature. Our customers really need this. Likewise, if we want to look at the example of, the automotive related templates, right? So you've got like something very specific, right? So if, let's say, it's, you've got a, so if you're a digital marketing company, you've got a car mechanic, or you've got a car glass, special parts of it. Maybe they're doing some oil change, or doing some, tuning, or just general maintenance, right? Like you got a maintenance company which kind of does everything, or even cleaning or whatnot, right? Anything. But the good thing here is that you could have like a basic contact form, or you could have what this site offers, where you've got the year, the make, the model, right? And whatever the style there is. Now you got the car information. So some people might not really want it, but some people might want it. So, for example, even if you're a detailing company and you know that the Chevrolet Malibu, the interiors need a specific kind of best fit kind of detergent and you're out of it, right? And so you can contact the customer and say, okay, we'll do it on Monday because, we're out of this, we need to still get it, or so. That's just an example, right? Or if there's a very very hard requirement where they have to like replace, um it could be a tire, right? So you have the car details. Now you can, this is like a step ahead. And plus there's going to be a live chat here, so once they fill it up and they start chatting with them, you can right then and there close the order, right? So there is no like form comes in, then you call. If the customer initiates the chat, you can close the deal without getting a phone call and manage it nicely, right? You can have multiple customers contacting you and you can chat with multiple customers at the same time, right? So there, if your phone's not ringing and whatever, so you can do it like, you have an additional communication channel, right? If you don't want like unverified customers to be calling you, right? But you want to have a way to instantly connect with them, right? Through your website, because that's where your traffic is going or that's where people are coming to. That's how. Okay, so that's an example, right? um so okay, so let's go in and again, like there are different options, you can explore them. Let's go and just go into like, let's go into this, right? And see how we can do it. So if you wanted to start just to try it, right, you could just click and try this template. So you could just click on it, and it is going to ask you now, because it has to create some kind of a web asset in which this template will be stored. So you got always two options. You get your custom domain. So if you already know that, hey, I think I like this, I know that this is going to work, maybe this is the second time you're watching this video, and you already have made up your mind, then you can just go ahead and register a domain name. So let's say you've got myabcshop.com, right? This is what you want to do, right? And you can search here, and it may or may not be available, so it'll tell you if it is available. Okay, if it is not available, then you can put in like ABC shop is not available. So let's say I say my Dakota, okay, ABC shop, okay, um cycles, okay, ABC shop, something like that, right? So now you have, okay, it is available. So yeah, now you can edit and publish. So what's going to happen here is that your domain will get registered, okay, not right now, but later on once you finish the process, right? Or if you're not sure and you want to use your free, your register from free subdomain, you could do it that way too. But let's say we go with this one. So I'll say edit and publish. Now the system will hold that domain, or at least for you, till you're done with this process, okay? Well, I mean, so basically, if you want to, like, you see this and you say, okay, this looks good, I think I can deal with this works for me, and then you can check out, then your domain will be registered, okay? And if you do not do that, then basically it'll release the domain back to whoever else registers it. So anyways, now we've got the detail part. So this is the editor, what I was talking about. So now that template that you'd seen outside is loaded inside with all aspects of it, editable. Okay. Now you might be using a different browser, okay, and a different environment. If you're doing this on your phone, okay, then your experience may be different because it'll show up in a different mobile format like this, okay, without the editor. So it'll show just like this. The side panel will be sliding over, and you have to click on an item for the side planner to slide into view, and then you can change, make, have access to all these different properties where you can play around with things. So I mean, I would highly advise you do it on a laptop. And once you're set up on a laptop and you have to make minor edits, you can always do it easily on a phone, right? You can make most text edits if you have pictures, good pictures for for your that you can replace. You can change them on the phone. You can add videos from your phone. You can do several things on your phone. Okay, so let's go back here and let's try to do it. So you see that this is like looking a little down than the others. I mean, if you go in preview mode, this is how it's going to look like. So it says preview mode activated here. So this is how it'll look like on publish. Okay. So but we want to do it, just edit the stuff here first. So what is the editing part? Okay, the text. So the system is made so that people with no computer programming skills, okay, because there are a plethora of different design programming skills that are typically needed to apply a color, a font, a style, an animation, a size, all those things. You have to code them in literally, and you need to know the code for multiple things like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, blah blah blah, many things. And they are not like one thing, like a one line thing. We are talking about several permutation combinations, okay, just to kind of be able to edit one thing. So the platform allows you to do it without having any of those programming skills or knowledge. It basically picks up your formatting here and auto generates the code for it. Okay. And on the backside. Okay. And so that's how the program, the software essentially works. So you don't have to be a computer geek. You've just got to get used to just, using this environment and using it, appropriately. So just like you would do on PowerPoint or something, you click into a text space. So this is like a big heading, and you can say Control A or Control, for control selecting all, or you could, click your mouse and do this. Okay, like drag it, just like you'll do it with the text. Make sure you're not selecting the entire element and start dragging it, because there is a draggable feature, because people want to like change the location of a text or something. And it is not advisable unless you're an advanced designer to try to do that, because then if things go out of whack, then you will be like, oh my gosh, now how do I undo it? You can obviously go and undo it here, but it's basically try to kind of work with the system than to like really throw a monkey wrench into it and try to see if it will still handle your desire. So I would say go step by step, and once you're really familiar with it and you see it, then you start playing around with it. Till then, be very careful as you follow through. Okay. So I hope you've gotten to this point and you can select the text. Okay. Now, once you've selected a text or generally any element on this entire thing, what happens is on the left hand side, you get this Be Quick, okay, panel where you can quickly make some quick edits that you want to do. Okay. And then next to that, you have the Styles panel. Now, this is both under the Properties, tab. Okay. So it'll auto basically it'll display this once you've selected an element, right, for that element. And now what are the things now to edit a text? Okay, so you can see there is text here, and there may be some blank spaces here based on the design of the of how this thing is taken in, but basically nevertheless it is the text, and you can edit it right there. Or you can click right here and you can see the cursor blinking, and you can use how you would do in the PowerPoint or any other word text editing software that you might have used. Just backspace it and start typing your message, right? Okay. And you can just do that. So that is point number one, that you can just simply replace the text, okay, with your text, whatever you like. Okay, whatever you like. Okay, as long as it is looking good. And now that is all up to you. Like if you don't like it, then you need to adjust it. But for example, if you want to play it safe with the initial templates, then you just simply don't redesign it, but you reformat it. Okay, and later on you can do the redesign as you progress. So for what I mean by reformatting, you change the text, you can select all, and now we go into this. Now typically on a heading, there is a URL. So what is a URL? You can actually add a URL and this will become a clickable link, but typically you don't want that. Like for this particular element, the purpose of this element is just showing some text, right? So we will just not making this into a URL, but we'll use this URL field where you can enter the URL or a link for another website, and then whatever text you enter it in, it becomes like a clickable link. You have the formatting, the text align, right? So you can center align is, you can right justify it, or you can just left justify it. It's simple. H1 tag. H1 is the level one, header tag, which typically search engines would look for in any page, and typically it is supposed to be only one. Okay, the search engine does that because they want to know what this page is about, And according to the accepted norms, there must be only one H1 tag. You can have more, but that'll create search engine ambiguity, and likely does cause your page to not be listed as much as it could be listed if you maintain one H1 tag. Okay, now in spite of, no, that's not like the holy grail of H1 tag or SEO. That is just one of like a long list of things that you must do it. And typically the templates have only one H1 tag on the top. Okay, so you can change that to H2, H3, H4, but that is probably more applicable for other texts. Okay, like a lower text, which we'll show shortly. Text color. Now, actually, there are some predefined text colors. Okay, here like primary. Um, let's see here. Text color. Okay. Right. So okay, so you can see that here it's not applying it, but because I think what you have to do it in this case is you have to go here and use this detailed text color. So it really depends on the item. I mean, you can, this is your actually the right place to do it. Maybe because of some particular code for this template that may not be like applying those simple ones may or may not be possible. Okay, so here we can go ahead and change the text color. Now you can see that it's been changed to blue, and you can actually click on this panel, and you can move your cursor around like you can see it, and it'll show you like all the different colors, and you can play around with it, right? You could even like go like this vertically and try out like what is your favorite thing, what is contrasting in ways and complementing in ways, for your website and your what they call as integrated marketing communications, right? Which means that the format of your business card, your shop front, your brochures, the color combination fonts typically should be the same or a set of same, so that people can identify you easily when they look at that style, that color, right? So you do that, and you but the point here is that you can pretty much 100% choose any color there is on, in the universe we know of, right? So that's your text color. Now you got your background color. Now that'll apply to just this box, and here you basically don't want to do that, because it is left as what do you call, transparent, right? So you want to leave it like that. um, so here you can see I'm undoing it, and I think like if there is a lot of undo, you can do control Z as an undo shortcut, and I'm going to click that, press Control D on it, and it's going to just keep going back, uh, you know. And typically, I would say be careful as you do these things, because, I mean, sometimes it's basically. So I've just clicked that Control D now, and it's just kind of running through everything I did, and it's kind of undoing it from all the way to the beginning, right? So all the colors. Wow. So it's like so many changes. Now, okay, it's almost back to what it was. Okay. So there you go. Now it's back to black. Okay. So Control D. Okay. That's the magic shortcut, right? So to undo it. So it'll basically undo a lot of stuff if you kind of make edits and you want to undo it. But be careful. You don't want to go in circles and kind of make and do it. But the good thing is you can do it. So in case you make mistakes, you can backtrack. So let's stick with this, okay, with the text, and go back. And now you know how to do the text color modification. You know how to do the background of a text area modification for that particular segment, right? Now, the next thing is we will do the font. Okay, so we've got a bunch of fonts here. And you can try to look for a font that is consistent with your, like I always say, your IMC, right? And you can choose what works with you, for your company, for your website, for your customer, whatever it is. Okay, the next thing is the font. Okay, some fonts for the same size may be smaller than the fonts for the other, so you might have to increase the size like this, right? As much as, I mean, there's a limit to it, right? But realistically, I think you would want to keep it somewhere around like this. because the whole point is that the top of the page shows the picture and a message and the sub message, right? So according to this templates design. So you can go and click on preview and you can see, okay, this is how it's going to look. Okay, good. Go back, and when you click get out of preview, now it says back in edit mode. You have to click on show toolbar again, so it's back in full edit mode where you can see the toolbar at all times. Okay, so now you have learned how to change the text content, um, the text color, the background color, the font, right, and the font size, the font itself and the font size, right. So we've covered this so far. Okay. You can pause the video, try it out. Okay. Just do it a few times till you kind of get, oh, okay, this is quite easy. I mean, if you use Microsoft PowerPoint or any of those text editing things, this is how this is just, rendered on the web for you. Font weight are some additional kind of styling that you can apply. And, and again, like it's like a complex set of permutations of different stylings, right? So for this particular font you might see that not everything is getting more and more bolder, right? I mean, there's a limit to it because it's supposed to be a sleek kind of a cursive you know designs, right? But for another font it might be more pronounced, like this, right? Ultra bold is more pronounced. The differences are more pronounced, and and so you got a little bit of variation that you can apply to it, right? Again, Control Z to undo the font. Oh, okay. So it's just going. Okay, so it's not changing the font styles. It just kind of goes back to the previous font. Not like the color, right? Because the color was doing every color that you went through. It did it, but for the font, it just goes back to your previous font that was there before you started editing. Okay, so it's just for you to get familiar with it. Okay, so let's keep going and cover the text completely. So you got this. Now, the more fun part is adding animation. So hover effect is basically like if the user is visiting your website and they come on the website like this and they're just kind of looking at your website and scrolling up and down and their mouse comes over a text area, it will show an animation, okay, to them. It's all optional, but if you want to keep like you want things to pop out, like if they're going scrolling down and you want some things to move just to get more attention, you can do that. Okay, so there are two types of it at the moment. There's hover effect where the mouse goes over it, and there is onload effect that when the site first loads, then it will basically show that animation, okay, once. So let's play with this a little bit. So you have to make sure that this thing is selected, whatever you're applying to animation. You go to the styles tab, go to this, and so remove is to just remove any what do you call style or animation, sorry. But you have zoom in, so it says zoom in has been applied, and when you do mouse over you can see that the text just zooms in, right, to the user from the user's vantage point. Likewise, there is zoom out, which goes on the other way of the spectrum, and then you've got tilt right, there is tilt left, right, there is fade in like this, right, subtle, and shadow. Let's see here, fade in, okay, and then slide in, okay, fade in, okay, okay. So what you have to do is, I think, if you're applying that fade in style, just a minute. Okay, fade in style. Okay, go back to the styles. Okay, when you apply fade in, make sure that after you have applied it, you don't. Let's see. We have to remove it, I guess, because once you have applied it, then it kind of stays in there. So you have to on over removed. Okay, so it's there may be something with it. I have to check what I'm doing here, but typically you should be able to remove it. Okay, but anyways, you might see, like, again, with the software or there might be something that's always going on. The good thing is there is live chat support all the time, so you can start like texting and seeing if you see anything that is not according to your expectation. then you can do it. So I just undid that. Okay, so now you can, okay, so another thing is you can just undo it, right? So it'll remove that effect, and now we are back to where we were. So let's continue with shadow, right? So shadow is basically applying a little shadow to that whole text area. That's what it's doing. Skew, okay, it's just kind of slanting. Bounce and blur. Okay, so these are some of the effects you can apply to a text, pretty much any text. Okay, and probably to images and other things too. But now we have gone through the Hoover effect. Likewise, you can have the load effect. Okay, zoom in. So that will happen once the page loads. Okay, so let's apply maybe let's apply to this pizza uh, on load effect. Let's say zoom in. Okay, because it's pretty pronounced. So okay, so all right. So on load effect, there is a note here, so you've got to like look out for these notes that are popping up. So I'll do it again so we can see that note again. So I said on load, zoom out. So it says on load effect applied. It will show on your published website. So it cannot be previewed here within this. So it's kind of more of an advanced load effect. Okay. So once you publish the site, then you will be able to see that on load effects showing, not inside the editor. Okay, but it will be showing the same way, the same effects that you do on Hoover, you apply there. It will show this way, which we will look at some point soon. Okay, so what are the other effects? Okay, so we got now. So what have we covered so far? We are able to change the text, change its H1 tag, change its color through the detail styling panel, not the Be Quick, because that it may not apply for all. Um, and you are able to change the font style, the font weight, the font size, and you learned how to undo, redo. If you are making any mistakes or you want to backtrack on your designing, you can do that. You learned how to justify it, two different styles, right? Central, left, right, justify. So that's here. Then now we have line height and line spacing. So let's say the line height, you want to increase it. It's basically the distance between two lines. Okay, so now it's gone into like overriding each other, right? The line, but here is like this, like this. Okay, and now there is a limit to it because I think the system doesn't want to have too much of a space because it's not reasonable. Okay, so that's the extent to which you can get this. Letter spacing. Okay, if you want to keep like more spacing, you can do that. Again, there's a limit to it, but it's within the reasonable bounds of what a web page should be. So there's some quality control here just in case, right? So you can add some of this and you can play the combination with this, like you can reduce the size of it. So if you're putting more, space, you can do it like this. So depending on what your style is, right? What you like. So, okay, so now you've studied about the line height and line space. Now we look at text decoration. So let's say you want to underline it. Okay, you just click here, text decoration, underline. Press the cross to remove it. And likewise, if you want to have a line on top of it, okay, you can do that. Or you can strike through if you want, you can do that. Okay, now strike throughs are useful if you are like putting something that is like a special offer. Just to give you a quick example, you could just put here was okay, washing. Okay, all right, washing. Let's say we have like car wash, right? Car wash, 29. Oops, $29. Okay, so okay, you don't want that car wash, the whole thing to be uh, like that. So you could go here and remove that. Okay, so unfortunately, you cannot do parts of the text. It'll apply to the whole thing. So you'll have to probably do something like, you can make this into two different segments. I'll show you how to do it. Let's go ahead and remove the styling. So this is, I'm showing you an example, a practical example that um, let's say blur. Just let's remove it because that's not helpful right now. So you do this. Okay, let's say you wanted to do this something like this, right? You say car wash, right? And then what you do is now you're going to learn how to replicate or add a new element. Okay, so let's say you want to like add another text but not apply the same design, like you want to do a strike through. You can add well, it's not ideal that you do it here like right on the top, but if you do, then you can add a heading here. Okay, so now you've got two of these. Okay, you can say 29.99, right? Let's say if that was your price, right? And you can select it, and you can go here, you can go strike through, right? And you can add another one. Okay, um, like this, and you can put like says the new pricing 19.99. Okay, something like this. Okay, just a practical example. Okay, now you've got this pricing if you wanted to use it for. That's just an example of why you would use a strike through. Okay, an example. There could be other different applications, right? But strike through, this could be one of the reasons you use a strike through. Okay, so that's one of, so we are just talking about how you can format the text and use it, and actually the ability to add more segments of text is in itself a form of editing it by just adding new, and just kind of being able to style each individual part of that text separately, completely, like the font, because you cannot have like one paragraph and just apply so many different styles inside it. That's not allowed basically here. Okay, and there's no need for it to have to be like that either. There's no purpose. It gets a little cluttered then. So you've got this here. Okay, good. Now we've got the styling done. Okay, where is it? Oh, it's jumping around a little bit here. Where is my, okay, we got text align, line height, line spacing. Okay, decoration. Now you can do the decoration color, right? So you got a strike through here. Okay, so let's go with the strike through. Now you want to go the decoration color here, right? You can set a decoration color, like you can put a red, you can, again, it's the same thing. You can pick a color that actually works for this, right? And the decoration style, you could put dots on it, you can dash it, you can double strike it, you can make it wavy. Okay. Now, again, that's not a good example. Generally, a regular strike through would look like this. Um, but like I said, you might want to do a different design for other purposes, not just the pricing. Okay, there might be other design factors that you're considering, and you want to use this different kind of strike through, or the decoration style. Now that would apply again to underlying and over, right? So there, the wavy one, let's say, becomes more interesting because you put it on top. Let's say you put it under, like this. That looks like a spelling mistake, right? But that looks like decoration, right? So the same thing means two different things if it's depending on where it is, right? So, okay, so we got that, and then just remove it, decoration. So now we've covered like quite a bit, right? Okay, so that's pretty much it. Now, in terms of the display block, right? This is more advanced stuff. Okay, typically I would not suggest for a beginner to play around. If you're a professional web designer, digital marketer who's got a good handle on it, or you've spent, you're either certified with FWS, okay, and you've gone through their actual course content, which goes really into detail and gets you certified, right? So, I mean, that's mostly if you're a service provider, right? So, if that's the case, then you would know more about these different display options and how to work with them. um, but for the purpose of this initial video, you don't really need to mess around with this in most cases, because you can create new text areas, you can add headings here like we just did, you can format it the way we just did, you can add text under it just we did, and apply all those stylings that we've seen so far, everything to these. Okay, this is the vanilla that comes out when you add a new element. Then you can just go ahead, you can edit it, and you can apply all your styles that we discussed, you know uh, all the effects, all the you know color, everything that we've done, font size, you can do it, and the justification, alignment, so on and so forth. You can do it, line height if needed, not appropriate for this particular thing. Okay. And it seems like when line spacing is done, the justification is reset because maybe it's calculating like from one side, right? So you have to re-justify it to where you want it to be. And so some things like these might happen, but that's just because the new code has to be generated when you apply something. And for the use of the system, it may not be doing it like right there. It might have to recalculate like the location of every uh, character here, letter here, and for that reason, it might be doing it like that. So you have to just re-justify it. Okay. So again, you can do all these designings and create the justification for it later on. Okay. All right. So okay. So so like any system, there are some limitations, some quirks. So you as long as you're familiar with it, you know how far your arm can reach when you go around your head. It's the same thing. So and how to get there, right? So it's basically just getting acquainted with it. Decoration color we did. We're gonna skip this because it's more. We're going to skip this. Opacity is like a simple one. So let's just go and apply this to this one here. Okay. So opacity. Okay. Or let's go with the 29.99. Let's say instead of a strike through, you're like, okay, I'll make it like more transparent, right? With a strike through, right? So boom. And you want it to be just solid, right? So now it's got a more pronounced, and you could add an effect to the week. This week, you could go here. Now this is just kind of building on what we did, right? Could be a zoom in. You could add zoom in on this like this, and on mouse over, and on this you can actually add the opposite, which is a zoom out, right? So people come here, they look at this, zoom out, zoom in. Okay, good, right? Or you could even have like on the onload effect, when the site loads, this zooms out, this zooms in, it kind of stands out by itself, right? And with a good color and font and everything, it could just look beautiful. And of course, if you're doing car wash, okay, you could change this image, just a quick one. Okay, you could just go through the gallery, right? And you can pick images that are already here, or you can upload your own picture from your desktop or your mobile. And let's see if there's a car here. Okay, there is a car here. Okay, there's a car wash thing here. Okay, let's use this. Okay, so now it's become more pertinent to car wash. I mean, that's how simple it is. Or you can just choose and upload. But that is to be, we'll cover it later. I'm going to stick around with the text, and so that it's finished for most part. Okay, we'll just skip on the advanced part. And for the sake of preserving and conserving time, so you can get to like the most work that you need to get done like really quickly through this quick crash course. Not a crash course, but it's a more in-depth look into what can be done. Okay, so where were we? We were in opacity, right? So we changed the opacity. What else could we do? Okay, let's say this text under it. You again go back to the styles. Okay, now you've got like after opacity, you got size, margin, padding, border. This is only relevant if, let's say, you need to create more spacing. Okay, between two elements. Now here it won't make sense to create any more space because this is kind of a reasonable layout, and that's why it's a template. So you have to do the minimum amount of work, right? But let's say you added many sections and you're like, okay, I want to have like, for whatever reason, I want this to be broader, okay? Like this, okay? Now, again, this is going to be a lot of work, okay? If you're not a professional designer, then you don't want to like really do a lot, okay? And do it carefully because you might end up like creating half something, and then you finish it half and you never come back and finish it the whole way, and it becomes inconsistent. So I won't advise it. Just do it step by step, think it through, and then do it. So here you have increased it, and the only reason I can think of is because either you want to increase more space for some reason, or you want to have a background color, okay, which is different like this, right? Or you want to match the background color with the nav bar. Okay, now here's a quick tip. If you wanted to match the nav bar color, for instance, or color of anything else, because so you click on that element, go to styles, you will see this code here, the background color code C41D00. You just copy it. Okay, you copy that, and you click on this element, the one that you're creating right now, and you want it to be the same color because you want to retain some kind of consistency. So now if you select it manually, you might not come to the same color, but now I'm going to select and paste that one and press tab, and now that is exactly the same code, okay, and the same color basically. So now you can create some kind of consistency if that was your plan. I mean, this is not a well placed heading, but it could be if you just design it. Again, that's why design is like a little bit, let's say our menu. Oops. Okay, our menu. Okay, because this is supposed to be a menu. Let's say you don't like this. Actually, you could actually just modify this one instead of creating a new one, but I'm doing it for illustrative purposes. So again, you go to style, you can increase the font size. This font really doesn't look good here for this particular thing. So, you can try whatever, something different. Uh, okay, maybe you want to make it ultra bold. You want to remove that decoration, right? You want to central justify it. Now, here for this thing, you can see that it is, on the top side. So now, in order for you to kind of justify it, like to have it in the middle, what you want to do is you want to use maybe, I think, padding, okay, and increase the top, okay, like this. So now you can have it in the center, okay. So you'll have to kind of figure it out when it looks like it's the center, but you can do it pixel by pixel, okay. That's all right. Okay, now it's got there. Now you have to go ahead and justify it again. Maybe, just maybe, later on this rejustification may not be required, but at the moment you have to rejustify it, and then you have to save and publish it so that it sticks there. Okay, but if you make any changes to the styles, then you have to re-justify it for the time being. Okay, I don't know why. So here, okay, so you got the R menu, right? And so let's keep going down that route, right? And we keep on applying different styles to it. Let's go back here with this example, okay? And okay. So where were we? Okay, styling. Okay, so we got down here, opacity, we saw the size. You can increase the size if you wanted to like put a background color to it and have a different color styling. If you wanted to create some internal space or reduce the space, you can, add the padding, right? Or remove the padding, right? And it'll add something. If you want to, like, for example, this 1999, you wanted to move it further to the right a little bit, then you'll add some padding. Okay. Okay, that's adding to the right. So you have to add padding on the left hand side. So the padding is being added here. So it's moving to the right. Okay. If you wanted to move it to the left, then you add padding on the right side, and that it'll do it. So this is just basically slight, you want to like really fine tune it for the right reasons. Maybe this makes more sense because now it's like, you know, maybe in the zoomed out position, it's more center. So again, so then there is border. Okay, so we are almost getting to the bottom of this for the text. So you got a border style. If you wanted to have a border like this, okay, for whatever reason, right, you can have that, and you can add some width to it. So if you want to make it like a really fat border, right, then you can make it really fat, right? You can make it as big as you want, okay, depending on how you prefer it, and your design kind of works well with it. And you can apply a color to it. So let's say you want it to be the same color as that one, the red on the top. There you go, right? Or any other color you find out, and in your thing, whatever it matches, you can do that. Now, there are different styles. You can make it dotted, right? Like if you want to make it look like a coupon, or dashed, right? So these are some options you have. Now, the other thing that you can do is the radius, right? So the radius is basically like the corners, okay? So for radius to be 0, it's like a square, like a 90-degree angle, right? But if you want it to be like arched, curved, then you'll start adding this, the top left. You notice the top left here is, instead of a square, it's starting to become a curve, to the extent where it becomes totally like, a circle, okay, the corner. So now it's not doing it. So that was the max, uh, you know, like that's how much it can go. If it was a bigger square, then it'll kind of curve further. But that's, you could do the same on your right side, right? So depending on what the purpose is, right? You could, I think, if you go over 100, now it's become like this. So it's really depending on your design, right? What your design requirements is. Okay. So it kind of hits a spot where it becomes, doesn't go any further and doesn't need to really. Okay. So, okay. So now it's kind of, okay, there you go. And the same thing. Background image. Okay, I love this background image thing because you can actually do a lot of cool stuff with it. Okay, so this is an important. So for any text heading or other text, if you want to add a background image, let's say I'm going to add, maybe I'll try, let's say this. Okay, that didn't make sense because it did not really, you cannot really see it. And because the image is simply too big and the text is really too small, frankly, right? It'll make more sense if I use that in, you know, a text. Okay, this template doesn't have a currently a lot of text, which you can add, which you should have probably. So, what you could do is, um, maybe customer reviews. Okay. Maybe under that you could say, okay, about us. Okay. Maybe under the about section, you could maybe, yeah, just an example for to show you what you could just add a heading, and you could say our story, right? And then under that you might want to put in like a text area. Um, okay. And okay, let me see here what's going on. Okay. So under that, you want the text area. And in the text area, we are just going to, for demonstration purposes, we're just going to copy this so that you got like, this is a paragraph of what you want to write, right? And you want to add a background image to this, right? Now that's where you click on this thing like any other text. Now here it'll be more appropriate because when you do the background image here under the styles tab, now we'll go and try and add this thing over here. Now you can see the car, that thing on the back. Okay, it's repeating. So repeat horizontal, repeat vertical. Okay, so, or no repeat, right? Repeat full. So it kind of covers it all. So it really depends on how you want it to be. And it's all design based. So that image is, if you're writing a lot of text on top of it, then you have to make it contrasting so people can read it, right? So that's where the styling comes in. And you have to kind of do the designing based on that. So it's kind of an advanced feature. But let's say, if you use like a more monotone image, which is not, or a lighter image, then it'll make more sense. And maybe not for long paragraphs, right? If it's a really long paragraph, then you want people to be able to read it, right? But with a text where something else is there, let's say, let me see, if I add a filler, okay, that's another thing. You have to keep like watching to learn all these things. There's something called fillers here where you can add some additional things, like, there's like a carousel with, and where you can add a video, and stuff like that. But I'm looking for like a text area. Let's say we add this here. Okay, now you got this is a larger text area. um okay, so if I go here and go into styles, select an image, and let's say I add this. Okay, hold on a second. So selecting styles, background image. Okay. Okay, so it has done that, but again, it's small text area, so you can't really see the purpose. Or you have to like really use a smaller image. So let's see what other images are there. Okay. Uh, uh, okay. So let's just go ahead and okay. Let's just kind of there you go. Okay, so that's the way it could be used, where you have that image in the background and you have something on it. Okay, now again, it's an advanced feature. If you do it creatively, you can really do a lot of cool stuff. I'll show you. Like, if you wanted to have like create a banner, but instead of doing it like this, you could just put the background image and you can say here, we love our pets. Okay, let's say it's a pet store or something. Or since we were working on the car thing, free pets sitting and restaurant on site. Okay, so just something hypothetical, right? I don't think that be really awesome if that was such thing, but most of the car mechanics don't have that. So really boutique. So here the text is here, right? Now you got to go back to the text. All right, here, right? And go to the styles. Now you'll have to. This is just an example of what you could do um, on this. So font family, you've got to have like a better font. I mean, you're creating a thing, so you guys gotta have a bigger banner, like sorry, the text area like that, right? Um, so this is the process of designing, right? So if you're trying to design something with it unique, right, then you will have to play with the font, to play with the color, you know, all that stuff you'll have to do and do it. So it really depends on. So the good thing is that you can do a lot. It's just a matter of you getting acquainted with everything there is. So here you want to make it extra bold. Okay, so it's readable. Text color maybe darker, right? Or whatever, fits in. So you have to really play around with it. And line height is like this. So it really depends if you don't want like double, right? You want to move it in the onto the top. You can go to your styles and you can put some padding in there. So this is margin padding. Okay, you want it to go up. Okay, it's moving there. So another way to do that is that you move it up here, right? Just drag it up here and just leave it right there. And then go to your styles and but be very careful with dragging. I'm very very careful about dragging because if things can things need to be really really stable for that to be done properly. Line height, you can add like some additional line height. Okay, line letter spacing like this. Now the big thing is like if you want to keep that image in the background, right? um, you want to uh, see here, styles, repeat full, no repeat, full repeat, select image. Okay, I've added to the different section. Okay, so this thing is what we are looking at. Um, okay, I think that P is, yeah, this is the one where that is. Image is inserted. Select image, change it. Okay, so now we are at the right thing here. Somehow I went from car to pets. Um, oh, because it's a free thing. So like this. Now in terms of the design and everything else, right? The size, contain. Okay, so if you don't want it to be like repeating and all that stuff, cover, right? So contain is like this. So if you're going to have like, let's say this nice picture here, and if you, let's say you wanted to for this to be like really big sized, then you could and you don't want it to repeat it, then that's one way to uh, do it. Let's say you're increasing the font size here. So now it is in, I think, in container or something. So it's not really, um, affecting, like it's not repeating that image, right? So it kind of sticks with it. So but again, it's not advisable because this is like way out of proportion, right? It's too big, and then you have to change the line height or whatever to make it reasonable. So so again, you can do all that design, but it has to make sense. Okay, so for it to be done, so and look good. So that's it. So you can add this. It's a pretty good tool. You change the kind of images you have, and then you can play around with it and create a nice banner. Text images. Like you can add whole sections, like for example here, if you just added you know let's say a heading. Okay, and you could create a section. This is our uh, tire care section, for example, right? You could put a better phraseology over there. You can go back out here. You can do the whole design, thing, um, and make it look good. Yeah, you got it really big, and you can add a background image to it. You can style it in certain ways and make it big. So it really depends on your design style, right? Some people might just want a really big section with just this written and with a nice background image. Entirely up to you, right? And make sure you change that H1 to H2 or H3 because you just want to have one H1 on the top, right? So, coming back to the text, I think we have covered, all the styling that you can do with the text, including the background image, backtracking, border radius, border styles, right? Different dashed borders, padding to kind of justify or move, fine tune the text setting. Pretty much this applies to almost every element. Fonts, font size, font height, font color, background, foreground color, justification, decoration coloring. So we've covered that entire thing about the text, how to use the text editing. Okay. Now, a lot that you have seen today in terms of applying in terms of the design and all that stuff, or like effects, are also applicable for images. Okay. So now I've switched from this to the